Hello and welcome to our very first kickoff of Travel Talks, which is exciting. In the near future, every single Tuesday at lunchtime, you can tune in from your office, from your work, to hear about different destinations and experiences that Geralyn and myself are going to be sharing. Today, maybe you have never heard of us before. We are the Travel Chicks, and we love talking travel, transformation, and inspiration. Who the heck are we? We actually create a platform for people, maybe just like you. Maybe you're divorced, maybe you're widowed, maybe you're somebody who just loves to travel but can never find friends. And so we want to invite you to join one of our Travel Chicks. We create this platform to bring people together to take these epic trips with. And whether it's ourselves curating a trip or whether it is using one of our preferred travel partner tour operators, we pair people up. And so we never want to see you alone. And we want to create this community of people who still love traveling. And that's it. So what's on the horizon for today? We have Geralyn the Travel Chick, who is going to be sharing her exciting adventure that she just took with a group to Peru just a couple weeks ago. So welcome, Geralyn.
Thank you. Thanks, Melissa. Hi, my name's Geralyn. I joined Travel Chicks a few years ago and am so pleased to have been able to have some great travel adventures thus far myself, as well as to book people on some amazing experiences. I took a group to Cuba a year or so ago. Melissa and I have been able to travel on a princess cruise together with her little one. Melissa took a group to Mazatlan to see the solar eclipse. We're just really wanting to bring people together around this amazing experience of travel and to create some connections and communities around that so that we can enjoy all of the amazing adventures that are out there for us to have. I am still just floating on air about my recent experience. I decided to join a group and go to Peru. So the main attraction, of course, is Machu Picchu, which is an amazing Incan civilization from the 1400s that you can visit. And I discovered that not only Machu Picchu is an amazing place to visit, but all the other places we got to go to were amazing as well. So I traveled with Exoticca. We had a group of about 20 people that went, and we started in Lima. So Lima is the capital city. And a lot of the Exoticca tours, you can price them out, including your airfare. And they've got some very reasonable rates, including air. In fact, I struggled to beat what they have to offer, and they have an amazing tour guides along the way. So,
And what was your flight path that you took? You departed Edmonton.
Yeah, I departed Edmonton. So you can either just book the tour and then add your own flights, which I did because I had some Aeroplan points. So I actually flew to Toronto, and then from Toronto to Bogota, Colombia, and then Colombia to Lima. One of the other flight paths, if you book directly with Exoticca, I'm seeing, which is a pretty good one, included in the price. So they offer some really good connections, is Edmonton, Vancouver, Mexico City, Lima. Now you have to sort of start the day before, because it's a lot of the flights are leaving later in the day, and then you're sort of flying overnight and you're arriving the next day in Lima. People that were coming from the east, they had a couple of other flight paths that were possible. Direct flights not happening to Lima, but there's some pretty good connections through LA as well, and a couple of different carriers that go. So when we arrived in Lima, we had the first day is pretty well free for you to arrive, get situated, get into your hotel. Of course, we were met by an Exoticca rep at the airport. So no need to worry about that. And I had met a couple of my fellow travel partners at one of my connections along the way. So we had met in Bogota and had that last leg together. And then we went exploring. So the first day in Lima, which was kind of on our own, we went to an amazing fountain park. It had light shows, the likes of the Bellagio in Vegas. And for I think it was $1 equivalent to Canadian, one or two, we were able to see lights and music and forests and parks with all kinds of different amazing sceneries. We stayed in the Miraflores area, so they do choose very nice hotels, even with the standard accommodation. You can upgrade to superior, but even in the charm category, I think it's called, we found them very comfortable, very walkable neighborhoods that you end up in, where you can find convenience stores, where you can purchase whatever it is you might need if you've forgotten something, or if you just want snacks or some bottled water or what have you. So the first day we just wandered around. Lima is the only capital city in South America that is actually along the Pacific coastline. So it's a beautiful area to visit. We were able to walk the boardwalk. We saw the surfers surfing out there in the Pacific Ocean, a little bit chilly for surfing, but it was still very lovely. And then we found ourselves a place to go for lunch. My first lunch was a lovely plate of nachos with some very locally sourced avocados. Hey, get your local organic guacamole. And everything that they have with the plants and the fruits is locally grown. On the other side, we have our breakfast every morning at the hotel, a lovely buffet breakfast. There's some golden berries, which are supposed to be help reduce your weight. Their diet, sort of a diet berry. So I brought some chocolate back that had the golden berries in it. Papayas, all kinds of fruits that you'd have, and a hot breakfast as well. So that was included in the Exoticca package, all the breakfast, as well as some of the suppers. And then other than that, you would supplement with purchasing, a lunch or a dinner in addition to as you went along, which was very affordable. So on the first official day, we toured. So that was when you land, you get yourself situated, you can walk around, meet some of your fellow travelers. And then the official tour starts the following morning. We met together, and then we toured Lima. We got very lucky with the weather. Lima does tend to be foggy, at least through the first half of the day, but we had some very clear skies, and we had a very comfortable air-conditioned bus that took us around, and they would stop at all the main sites, some ancient churches, amazing art that we got to see, a lot of the prehistoric, Inca civilization, and mixed with the Spanish influence. So there is no shortage of sites and amazing places to see around Lima. In this slide, we've got us meeting in the morning in the hotel lobby. So you have your guides that meet you for the day, and then the guides that are with you on the bus, and they are full of information as far as what you're seeing and what you're doing. Very, very informative. The ocean views are spectacular in this Miraflores area. We were staying, I should say, about 20, 30 minutes outside of this. So a little bit of a walk or a very quick Uber ride to get to this area. And we had part of the day exploring the coastline, the shops, the restaurants, the coffee houses, the local markets. It's really a lovely area.
And when you exchanged the money, would you recommend doing it here in Canada before you go, or would you exchange it down there?
I think if you exchange a little bit of money before you go, I did not get the greatest exchange rate. I just did it at the airport before I went, which I was grateful to at least have some local currency before I went. But the best exchange rate was when we arrived. There are bank machines. And even my credit card gave me an excellent exchange rate. I used my credit card wherever I could, and I had a really great exchange rate on there. But for tipping And for Ubers or the local bus or what have you, then you probably want some local currency, which is very easy to get if you just go to a bank or even use your card and get it out of the bank machine. There was a fee. The bank machine has a fee, so you kind of lose a little bit on that. But overall, it was very easy to get some local currency. And for those that were from the States, they had their American dollars. They're very happy to also receive payment in American currency. So one of the things that Peru is famous for is their amazing textiles. So they had us go to a textile industry factory where people were showing us how they make the dresses. They've got hats, they had shawls, they had all kinds of table runners, tablecloths. You could purchase whatever you might like there. And they also showed us how the local dyeing processes worked and what they used for making their textiles. Another highlight was visiting these lovely llamas and alpacas. And they were at a farm right adjacent to the textile factory that we went to. And so we were able to go and feed these really friendly, welcoming animals. They were very happy to come and eat. And they also, the views, I would say, I know that people go for Machu Picchu, but the views from so many of these places that we went to were just simply amazing. And I made a little friend there. And then they were showing us how they use the local plants to make a lot of these dyes that they have all naturally sourced materials. They don't use anything artificial or synthetic. They even have a root that they use to wash the alpaca wool, and they use it to wash their hair. These beautiful women did not have gray hair. They have beautiful black flowing hair, and everything, their soaps and they source naturally, which was really interesting to see. So after spending a day and a night in 2 nights actually in Lima, we flew from Lima to Cusco. So a lot of people have questions about acclimatizing. It's nice to go with a group. They have the route planned out specifically to make it as easy on you as they can. So Cusco is actually 12,000 feet above sea level. You fly there, and then you go down into the Sacred Valley for a night to get acclimatized before heading out to go to this amazing site, which is Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu is not as high as Cusco, so you're sort of getting acclimatized as you go along, but you definitely still need to pay attention. There are altitude sickness pills you can take. I have asthma. I had to be very careful not to overextend myself, but I was very pleased at how well I adjusted. The climate was beautiful. It was 20 to 25 degrees most days, and I did not do the 4-day trek into Machu Picchu. I took the train. So there's a train. You get up at 4 a.m. You get on a bus. You get to the train station. And then you get on this amazing train. It was well worth the train ride through these amazing mountains and valleys and rivers and rainforest with lots of local people to entertain you and to show you their culture. They're so proud of what they have, and they should be. So the Peruvian rail was amazing.
One of the questions that we did get was, did you receive the yellow fever vaccination?
So in terms of vaccinations, I really encourage people to visit their immunization clinic to see what they may or may not need. I keep up on all of that, and whatever it is they recommended, I don't think yellow fever is actually a requirement for there, but we did make sure to bring our bug spray, our sunscreen, our rain jackets, because you never know what the weather's going to be like there. But I did get, I think a Hep vaccine before I went, and my altitude sickness pills. So this was my glorious smile as we arrived at Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu means old mountain. This is where in about 1450, and it took about 80 years, the Incas built this city. It was built to honor the king. So this was a temple, a palace. It was for royalty. But there was a population of about 2,000 to 3,000 people that did live here on an ongoing basis. You can see the amazing architecture that they were ingenious in how they constructed this. There have been earthquakes in Peru that have leveled the modern engineered buildings, and this has withstood it all. So they really had an amazing way of building this. And it was also built on what they call sacred land. I mean, it's in an area where we have the sacred river, sacred valley. And I can tell you, being there, I felt very much like it was a spiritual place. The Peruvian people would come here on an annual basis around the summer solstice. They worshipped the sun gods, they worshipped the moon, they worshipped the earth. They were very much in touch with nature. And so June 21st was a special spiritual time, and people would be chosen to make the pilgrimage here. And we have there were lots of Peruvian people coming. It still is a very sacred, very special place to be. And I felt like it was a place of some very deep healing. I had some things I was going through before I went, and I felt like I just found a rejuvenated spirit, just even being here for the half day. And as you can see, there's terraced hills. So when they planted, they would have them on terraces because everything's built into the mountainside. And this is Machu Picchu from a different angle. For some people, they were able to do some treks actually right up into the mountain. That was something that was available as an extra or an add-on. Or if you wanted to do the 4-day trek, that would also be a separate, for us, we did the day with the train, the bus, and then we had 2.5 hours to explore this amazing Machu Picchu, which was a real highlight. So you can see that they built everything into the mountainsides with rocks. And the steps, if you went up 2 or 3 with the altitude, it definitely would suck the wind out of you. So, you had to kind of go easy on yourself, take it slowly, but very doable for, a middle-aged person who has some underlying health issues. I was able to handle this. I felt, very well by taking care of myself and being careful. It was amazing. As you come out of Machu Picchu, you're in the rainforest. I mean, you've got the Andes, the mountains, the rainforest. You've got, in some other areas, desert. The variety of topography that you get to see is something I didn't really expect. As we came out of Machu Picchu, we had there's a town there. So we walked through the town. There's a river running through, and we went and had a lovely lunch. We had worked up an appetite by then. We went around to the local markets. They are considered innovators in farming. And so they have over 400 varieties of corn and over 1,200 varieties of potatoes. I tried so many amazing dishes while I was there. Of course, the music, the Peruvian music with the pan flutes and the guitars. Just a wonderful, amazing time we had at Machu Picchu. Then we came back to our hotel at night, and there was a lady weaving her textiles, and it is a local source of income. So, as much as possible, we tried to support local. I bought some lovely little headbands. I bought one of their, I thought this would be great in the winter time. I brought it's made out of the llama wool. I brought another hat. I got my lovely llama textile that I'm going to hang on my wall. It's so soft. Really amazing what they do. And so our hotel was lovely. This was after our day at Machu Picchu. You come back. We had a lovely supper in the restaurant there. and there were hammocks, there were little beds, there were fire pits. People were having a fire in the evening. And as the sun set on that day, I just thought, my goodness, how blessed am I? We all were just on a high. I think the altitude, just sent us soaring in terms of how we felt at the end of that day. Was just, we were tired, but we were just exuberant. And so this was our, end of day. Again, this is where we were looking out over the river on that amazing day. And this was our Exoticca group. Amazing people. I had a roommate, didn't know her before. We got along wonderfully. And you can have a single room if you want. It's usually about $300 more, or you can choose to share a room. We had a fantastic group of people. Everybody was just so amazing. So I really highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's and I know this is just your part one, because we're going to wrap things up right away here. And so you guys definitely want to stay tuned for the second part of learning about the Sacred Valley and more that Geralyn has to share. But it sure sounds like it was quite a cultural, immersive experience.
It really was. I think one question that we had was, did we stay overnight with a local family? So no, we didn't do that. But I was very happy. We had lots of opportunities to meet with local farmers, local artisans, even, take advantage of, they have chicken is like one of their major things, roasted chicken. So we went to this place that was like the local Peruvian Swiss chalet, and just, interacting with the staff. They spoke to us in Spanish. In the restaurants, they were speaking to you in Spanish. It's a great opportunity to learn some of the language. People at the hotel and in the tourism industry, they certainly are fluent in English, and your guides and such. But it really was a cultural immersion, which was a real treat.
Mm-hmm. And in saying that, we just want to pique your interest for a few tours that we found with Exoticca upcoming in the next, 6 months. But also, if you are listening to this replay or you're live with us right now, and you have an idea, a trip that you have had on your mind for a while, reach out to Geralyn, which her contact info will be shared at the end. Because maybe we can reach out to our database and see who else we might be able to pair you with, or send you off to join a tour like Exoticca. So here's tour number 1, from Sacred Valley to Lake Titicaca, Peru, in 11 days, 9 nights in destination. This is a fantastic time of year to go, September 9th to the 18th. Double occupancy. These prices are from Edmonton. So if you want Calgary or another Canadian major city, reach out to Geralyn. Double occupancy from Edmonton, you're looking at $32.99 per person. As you can see, the highlights here: Cusco, Lake Titicaca, Lima, Machu Picchu, and the Sacred Valley. And remember, this includes your flight, accommodation, all your transfers, some activities, and some meals. So fantastic rates, including all of this. Single occupancy is $36.99 per person.
And the rates are in Canadian dollars.
Oh, yes. Great point.
Yeah.
So here's the exact tour that Geralyn did. Sacred Land of the Incas, Peru, in 9 days, 7 nights destination. This date is October 30th to November 6th. So again, pricing from Edmonton, Canadian dollars. Double occupancy, $20.99 per person. And this one is only $200 extra more for your very own room. So that would be $22.99 for single occupancy. Now, one of the favorites that is on tons of people's bucket lists is the Amazon, Galapagos, and of course, Machu Picchu. We found this, which, by the way, January is a great time to go to this area of the world to see the beautiful sights, the scenery, the culture, and most importantly, all the wildlife. Okay. Peru in 19 days, 17 nights. So this one is January 15th to January 31st, 2025, next year. Maybe you want to check off this bucket list trip at the start of next year. Double occupancy for this is $47.99 out of Edmonton. And if you want single occupancy, it's $1,000 more per person. So that would be $57.99. And again, from Edmonton, Canadian prices. So right now, the special bonus that Exoticca is having is every tour that you book with Travel Chicks for the month of June, you will be given a future travel credit, which is a cashback credit that is equal to 10% of the new booking. So you call Geralyn, you book your tour, whether it's to Peru or Portugal or Greece, you book your tour in the month of June. Okay. The tour is $4,000. You will receive $400 towards your next tour that you want to book for next year. So maybe you want to take the Galapagos. That's a $4,700 tour. Subtract the $400 credit you have, you're paying $4,200. Okay. So super amazing bonus that they are offering for the month of June. Okay. And to get in contact with Geralyn, you can reach out directly, 780-243-0256, or you can reach her by email at Geralyn@travelchicks, CHICKS.ca. And we want to say thank you. Thank you for your attention today. We're excited to get you marking off your bucket list destination trips.
We can't wait to talk with you. And stay tuned for next week for Sacred Valley in Cusco and more great travel talks coming up down the line.
Awesome. Thanks for joining today, Geralyn.
Thank you, Melissa. Gracias.
Bye.
Hasta la vista, baby.